It's always like first few minutes just to make sure that's the setup is correct. So I guess we're live. Let me double check here. Cool. I think we're going live now. So welcome everyone who joining on our weekly live stream on Twitch. So we're excited today to discuss the new feature we have, the command line experience. So I would like to welcome everyone joining. Please feel free to leave your questions in the comment section below. Just before we go ahead and present our speakers, I would just like to share our unconference event in 2 days in London, and it will be hybrid as well. So you're welcome to join anywhere in the world. So essentially what we will have is a community event for real-time stream processing, and we will have a training workshop in London, but at the same time, once we finish the training in London, we will have a roundtable discussion. So this roundtable discussion is mainly for industry expertise, and essentially we will also have some kind of badges if you complete the workshop. So in order to register, you just need to fill in your details here, and we will send you the Zoom link and everything you need to know about the event. So with that being said, I would like to welcome James Gardiner and Yüce Tekol from our staff at Hazelcast. So welcome, James. Welcome, Jos.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Before we start, maybe a little bit introduction. What do you do at Hazelcast, and essentially what came up with this idea of the command line?
Well, shall I start? So, sure. My name's James Gardiner. I'm one of the Hazelcast product managers. I've been with the company just over 4 years. So, we fascinated by the growth as we move into more real-time systems. And one of the areas that we want to focus on today is really empowering the developer and improving the developer experience. And what we have is our command line tool, which makes it very easy to connect to a Hazelcast cluster, regardless of where it is. It can be, on your laptop, it can be on your network, it can be self-managed in the cloud, or it could be in our Viridian cloud service. It doesn't matter, it will connect, and it makes it very easy for you to issue commands, run SQL queries, look at output in different formats. So, I'm very excited that we have this opportunity to show to you. And I think I should hand over to Yüce because he's our lead developer on this. So, a lot of the work and the effort that's gone into it is really his real contributions.
Thanks, James. Hi, I'm Yüce. I'm a tech lead in the APIs team and responsible for Python, Go, and Node.js clients, and recently CLC. So hopefully we'll have a nice introduction to CLC for you, and I hope you will try it and tell us your opinions about it. I'm always on Slack community, our Hazelcast Slack community, so you can ask us questions or give your feedback about CLC. So I'm handing it back to James. Should I share the?
Yeah, if you don't mind. Fantastic, thank you. I mean, we've got a very small slide deck because today is not about showing you slideware. We really want to show you a demo of how the product works. And we're really keen to get your feedback as well. So, if you've got ideas and suggestions, we've got a slide on how to contact us, or put some questions in the Twitch chat. Because if we can make it a bit more interactive, that's going to be very helpful. So in essence, CLC, the command line client, so it connects as a client, is a very flexible tool. It's written in Go, and it supports a wide variety of different commands. At the moment, we're focusing very much on the SQL area because this is a huge area of investment, because it's our key tools around stream processing and making polyglot access to the Hazelcast cluster, so you don't have to be language specific. So this is a big area of investment that we're doing it. There's two basically tools that we use. So there's the CLC, which we're going to be demonstrating today, which is about console access. It runs happily within your IDE or any terminal window. And then my main day job at Hazelcast is the product manager for the Management Center tool, which is the GUI web-based application that is great for developers and for sort of DevOps functionality. And it's also built into the Viridian dashboard. So when you use our cloud services, you can access our Management Center directly from there. So that's the key thing. Yeah, I mean, what we wanted to do with CLC is really make it easy to download and connect, because we've seen far many tools that are complicated to configure and set up. We wanted to remove as much friction as possible. So it's a single binary, there are no dependencies. It happens to be written in Go, and it connects as a Go client. As I said earlier, it'll connect to any Hazelcast cluster as long as you can make a client connection. So it works a treat in that sense. And it's got a good range of commands, which Yüce was showing us. So map commands, managing Hazelcast objects, really good at kind of helping you identify how data has been serialized, which can be a challenge for some developers. So we're focusing on those sorts of areas. It's very quick for its SQL. And it also allows you in Hazelcast 5.3, which is coming out shortly, to submit Jet jobs directly from the terminal. So you can be in the directory with where the jar is and just upload it directly. So we're trying to make it as seamless as possible. Yüce, do you want to do a demo?
Yeah, okay. Let's switch to the demo. Okay. Now, for this demo, I have a reading cluster. So at the end of this session, we have a slide where you can get a free account, a lifetime free account from Viridian. One cluster runs on a remote EC2 instance, and one runs on my local. So I will first want to show you how you can download this tool. You can just search for Hazelcast CLC, and yeah, this is our repository. It's open source. You can have a look about how to the source code. And we have released 5.2 beta 3 recently. We have compiled binaries for a few platforms, like Linux, macOS, and Windows. And also we have an installer for Windows. You can download CLC for your platform and start using it right away. For Windows, currently our binaries are not signed, so you will get a warning about that. So I previously downloaded and copied to my pad. So when I run CLC help, it's there. You can see the commands, which commands it supports, and also some options you can give. The most important thing about CLC is, I think, the configurations. So you can have several configurations for CLC, mainly that they contain the cluster configuration. So let's, for example, add a Viridian cluster. When you have an account for Viridian, you can create your own cluster. I've created this one previously. So you can click on Connect Client. Currently, CLC configuration is not on this downloadable samples, but with 5.3 in the next release of Hazelcast and Viridian, we will be able to download CLC directly from Viridian console. So we have this Go sample on Viridian console. you can just copy its link, and all you have to do is CLC config import, and you have to give it in. I will call it prod, and just paste this link you got, and when you press enter, CLC will automatically download this Go sample, and it will import the configuration. I've done that previously, so I won't do it again. Or you can add a new cluster configuration, like your local cluster. I've also done that before, so I can list the current configurations. So prod is my Viridian cluster, and dev is my local cluster. Also, CLC has a concept of home directory. So all these configurations and log files, other things are kept in the home directory. You can print the path for the home directory using CLC home. For example, of course, you can. The main advantage of command line tools is you can combine them very easily. Like I will, for example, list the contents of my home directory here. So you see there are few directories. So I have this same configuration on a remote server. Yeah, and I will show you a few other commands. So CLC has two modes. The first one is the non-interactive mode or command line mode. Like, for example, I want to list. I want to use map set, for example, in my local cluster. Set. I can specify key. Let's say foo, and my value is var. Okay, I can list the objects on my cluster, so I have two. I can query what's in my map, for example. Default, if you don't specify the map name, it's default. So it has foo key and bar value. I can display things in different formats, like I can show it as a table. I can show it as a JSON. And also I can show the types of keys and values. Like this is JSON. Table views is probably looks better. Okay. Of course, I can specify the map name. If I don't specify the map name, it just uses the default. Let's say I want to set a new value for my map, and let's say I want to use an integer key this time. I will just use like a 64-bit integer, like 42. Everyone uses that, and I have to set a key. This time, I want to use a JSON value. Okay. Let's get the entry set for my map. Yeah, let's show its type. This is a very simple example, but even this one is very useful. Sometimes you don't know what are the types for keys and values in your map, and this is very useful to check it out. CLC also has the shell or interactive mode. Let me also show it. So if you don't specify any commands, then you enter the shell mode. When you enter the shell mode, you can run \help to see what are the commands you can use. And let's say one of the main things we want to achieve with CLC is you can use the same set of commands between the interactive mode and the non-interactive mode. Like we previously get the entry set for my map. As you can see, by just prepending / we can run the same commands here. But the biggest thing about the shell mode is execute SQL queries are very, very easy. To demonstrate that, I will just use a predefined SQL script file. So in our company, we have a hackathon called Project X. So this I have the votes for this year's Project X and convert it to an SQL, statements. So this is the Hazelcast SQL. Yeah, this is very straightforward, except maybe the mapping. If you are not very familiar with Hazelcast SQL, this is probably new for you. So I can execute this script with CLC without needing to type everything in the shell mode. So what I do is I get it, and let's use the Gradient cluster for now, for this one. Okay, now I can show you the map metrics. So you see project and vote are two maps. You can see yeah, the entries are being updated. Project vote is 14. Vote is 250 and
So one of the things that's great here is you can run commands against the dev, and then you just change the name of the cluster, and you can execute exactly the same commands on another, on another cluster like prod. It's very, very flexible in that sense.
Yes,
I think
that's one of the things we want to achieve. Okay, I think it's upload everything. So I'm using the reading cluster, I think. Let me check. Oh no, it was development cluster, which was local, and I'm now switching to the reading cluster. So it's the same set of commands. Let's, for example, check what objects we have here. Yeah, okay. So I want to write some SQL statements against this project and what maps or mappings, but I don't know what's in there. So how can I check them? So I can use the DM shortcut to list the mappings, and I can use DM to get more information about some mapping. So you see that. And if I use DM plus, it shows me the columns for that mapping. So we have key, name, team, cross team, and JIT. The team, cross team, and JIT are bonuses we give to projects, and name is the project name. So let's check the vote table or mapping appropriately. Yeah, the key, voter ID, project ID, what the price this vote was casted against, and the points. So let's write some SQL. So you see we have syntax highlighting for SQL, and in the shell mode you can write SQL commands directly without needing to prefix with anything. So what I want to do is I want to list the projects and their bonuses and the total points they get. So I will alias project is P and vote is V. P name team bonus, cross team bonus, just in time bonus. Then I want to sum the points, and it's coming from the vote table or a mapping. And I want to add the bonuses to the total points to come up with the final result for the project. Team bonus, cross team bonus, just in time bonus. Okay, I added them. What I should do is join project with vote. Project P inner join vote V on project vote project ID. Okay. Then of course, since I'm okay, I will just run it like that. Of course, it's not correct, but yeah, you see, we got an error. We have to okay, so no. So why anyway, if you got the problem, you can just try to solve using our tools. I think since I already used it, should be the okay. Now, of course, I have to group them. P name, team bonus, then the cross team bonus, then just in time bonus. Okay. Of course, I want to have a nice title for my total column. So let's do that. As you see, you have full history. You can go backward and forward in history. You can press Ctrl A and go to beginning of the line. Yeah, let's call this total. Okay. Now, of course, I would like to see this table ordered by the totals. So order by total, and I want to see them in a decreasing order. Yeah, as you see, I have a nice table here. So, and one thing, of course, I have to do is I need to group by filter by the projects, project price. So price project X is price X. See. Okay. Now this is our final table. Executing SQL queries is very nice with CLC. Let's check other things like, for example, you'd like to feed this to another tool, like command line tools make it trivial to pipe your data to other tools. Let's, for example, use Visitata. Visitata is a very popular command line tool for Excel-like tasks. I will execute the same query. So let me just copy them. Since it's a T, okay. What I will do is okay. I guess in my team settings is a problem. I will run the same query in the command line mode. SQL, I'm using the production cluster. And then I write my SQL statement here. Okay, let's see. Okay, so because Stinos think so there's a copy error. Let me just sorry. It's because I used single quotes in the query. Okay. Yeah, this is the default format, but I want to see it as JSON. Okay, this is JSON. Then I want to feed it to Visitata. And it uses the JSON format. Okay, as you see, we have a nice table that shows our data. You can use CLC with any command line tool. Another thing I want to show is the map and the type. So you know our SQL works against maps. Okay, we have the project map, for example, and vote map. Let's see the entries in the project map. Okay, And let's display this as a table so they look better. And maybe I want to show what types are these the keys and values are. So I just say show type like I did previously. As you see, we have this key type in 32, and the value type is JSON. And CLC breaks this JSON documents to columns to make it appear better. Yeah, these are some things I wanted to show with CLC. Other than that, yeah, there are other commands that we support, and in 5.3, CLC will support submission jet jobs. You know, in order to submit a jet job, you have to write some Java code. Compile it. The job should be compiled to a jar, and you need to use our HZ CLI tool to submit that job. With 5.3, CLC will support submitting that jar. So to do that, I've compiled a snapshot of 5.3, and I will use that. Okay, let's start it. The jet job I have is like a simple Python, a simple transfer that uses Python. This is the function. The Python function it uses.
So you've got a Python job that's then wrapped by a Java bit of code so that it can then be run on the Hazelcast cluster. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. So I compiled it to a jar, and I want to submit it to my cluster and run it. So you won't have this with the current downloadable CLC release 5.2 beta, but with we will release with 5.3. So what I can do is like just submit. You can see what options it supports, and this is my jar that contains the jet job. Okay, and this is my cluster. Yes, it's submitting the commands, and yeah, you see the jet job is running. I can list the current job. I can list jobs currently running in the cluster. So yeah, Python function. Yeah, this is the name of our task, and this is its job ID. Of course, I can use this formatting everywhere. This you can change the output for all commands to display it better or feed it into another command. Now I want to cancel this job. What I can do is, I could just copy and paste this code, but let's go a bit more fancy. Sales job cancel, and I will pipe a few commands to take this job ID, for example. And cut the first field. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it stops. Let's see the job list again. Since this job was forcibly terminated, it will just run failed. That's not a problem. Yeah, this will land in CLC 5.3, and it will require Hazelcast 5.3. And we have a few experimental features. One of them is in our notebook support. You know, Jupyter Notebook is very popular among data scientists. And in the future, CLC may make creating Jupyter notebooks that work with your cluster trivial. Like I said, it's an experimental feature currently, and it may appear in later versions of CLC. Let's say I want to use my local cluster, for example, or you can use the production cluster too. Let me check my configs. See, I have the prod. Yeah, let's create a Jupyter notebook for our Viridian cluster, which is running in the cloud. But our Jupyter notebook will run locally. Yeah, I will just say notebook, and it will create a virtual environment for me, download necessary packages, and create a default Jupyter notebook.
So because CLC knows about the configuration, it's able to download the Jupyter notebook and then configure it with the Hazelcast client to automatically connect to that cluster that you specified, all in one step.
Yes, definitely. And for example, instead of prod, you can just say dev with the exact same code. It's just by changing configuration name, you can have the same experience. So it CLC created a default notebook for me. Let's click it. Okay, it has even some content there. Yeah, I can run these cells. What you do is click on Shift and Enter, or yeah, you can use the menus there. But I will just run Shift and Enter, and you see you can check which cell is the active one with this blue line here. So. Okay, that's magic. CLC knows about your connection, cluster connection settings, and imported some Python code that can connect to your cluster. By the way, this uses the standard API called DB API for Python. It's a standard API for querying SQL. And we will release this DB API support with Python Client 5.2. Okay, we created that connection to our cluster. Let's get a cursor. Okay, now I will create some mapping. You see, this is standard DB API, and with our Hazelcast SQL. Okay, let's add some data. Okay, we'll run a query. You see. Okay, and let's import our data to a pandas data frame. Now, pandas runs our query and prepares this nice table. In the future, we will support SQL Alchemy, and you won't see this warning. Okay, now
You can't have a Jupyter notebook without a graph, can you?
No, you can't. So yeah, let's. Okay. And here's our graph, which was populated using data in our map or mapping. One other thing, experiment feature is creating a Python environment. So this is similar to notebook experience, but it just creates virtual environments and installs that magic Python code that connects to your cluster. But this uses the command line Python shell. So I can do same things. Okay. I can get a cursor extra. Yes. Anyway, I can go and run the same commands here too. One other thing I can show is the logs. When you run CLC, it always keeps logs. So you can see them. So of course I need to run this. Okay. It automatically creates one log file per day if you don't specify it. Of course, you can specify the path for the log or the level. So let's, for example, check the contents of this log. I will see into it. Yes, you see. For example, if you are curious about what happens when you run a map entry set query and want to see what CLC is logging, and maybe you want to log to the standard outs, or sorry, standard error. You can use the standard error instead of the path for log path. So log file. Okay, of course, I can get the up. Okay. Yes, you can use standard error or another path. You can show more details. Yeah, logging is of course very important. Yeah, these are most things I want to show in this demo. And one thing maybe also I can show is auto completion. So CLC supports generating auto completion for your shell. You can check out this completion command to see which shells we support. And let's say I use Bash, so I want to generate auto completion script for my Bash shell. It shows you when you run CS complete Bash, it creates this script, auto complete script, and if you run help, if you add help, it shows you how can you activate auto completion for your shell. You can activate it for your current session, or if you want to make it permanent, there are other things you can do. Like I want to do it only for my current session. And I wrote CLC, and when you press tab, you see the auto completion activated. What can I show? Like maybe there are a few map commands we support. Map, it auto completed when I press tab. map clear, for example, just clear. Okay. Yeah, that was the auto completion. I think that this is all for the demo.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that from my side, as not a hardcore developer, the CLC is very invaluable because it allows you to see what's stored in the cluster. So when you're writing your code, you can test. If you're new to Hazelcast, you can actually check that the same information is there. You can check how it's been serialized, and this is an area that we're extending. And of course, it's very easy to decide to push it to a particular to connect to a different cluster. So if you want to test something on Viridian, you want to test something locally, it's very, very flexible in that sense. And the experimental features are really about the fact that CLC knows a whole lot about your clusters. So, what clever things can we do to help you build? We're looking at potentially templating in the future. The notebooks, I think, is a great demo of that capability, or the Python connector. So there's plenty of room for expansion and kind of growing that. And we'd love to get your feedback on that. So, you just put some useful links up there. The first is to the GitHub CLC home directory. The second is the link to the docs. The third is we've got a survey, and we'd love to hear more about what you thought of CLC and where you think it'd be useful. Because we're very focused around product-led growth. So how can we drive this to help people who are going to use it? And lastly, we're of course promoting Viridian. And as UJ said, we've got the ability for you to get a free account, 2 gigabytes of free storage. So please do sign up and experiment with it. The conference that's later this week that Fawaz was promoting is all going to be around using Viridian as well. So we're very excited about our cloud offering and where it's going.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks very much, James and Yuji, about this very important topic. I think the tool itself is really useful from the developer experience side. So whatever makes life easy for us, I think will be really appreciated. So I've got a couple of questions here. So I don't know how you want to proceed. So I will just mention these questions and feel free to answer. So first question is regarding the difference between the SQL browser in Management Center and the SQL on the command line client. Are there any differences between the two?
I mean, when you're in the Management Center, then we've got a tree view of the structure of what you're looking at. So we show you your indexes, your fields, and so on. So it's a very kind of interactive design. But the value of the CLC is how quick and simple it is. Sometimes you don't want to leave your IDE and switch to a web browser to go and look at something. You want to do it all within the same application. So CLC is designed to be lightweight and very quick to operate. And as UJ's demonstrated, it can output in a variety of different formats. So you can send it out in JSON, CSV, table, text. So it's very, very flexible in that sense. So not only can it be used for scripting purposes, but also for interactive. So the Management Center is very focused around the kind of interactive querying, supporting multiple tabs and those sorts of things. But hopefully the idea is that the two complement each other.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. One great advantage of CLC, I think, is composability. Like you can pipe to other commands to make the output exactly you want, and you can run automations like James mentioned.
Yeah, and in terms of the connections, someone is asking about if the connection is secure between the CLC and the cluster.
It uses same connections with our client libraries. So if you enable SSL, you can do that. Then it's secure. Like for Viridian, SSL is enabled by default. But for your cluster, you can enable SSL. For SSL, you need enterprise. You need an enterprise cluster or Viridian, so you can make it secure.
That's a great thing in Viridian. So when UJ was showing downloading a client, and it doesn't matter which language, you can do Java, Node.js, Python, etc. Then that configuration and the demo files that come down as part of the download are pre-configured to connect directly to the cluster. So it includes all of the certificates that are needed, pre-configured for you. So that's done dynamically, and of course CLC can then read that to configure itself very quickly and easily. So yeah, security is important.
Okay, and in terms of automation, any support for automation in the CLC?
You can write scripts. Currently, our scripting capable is not the best, but you can run all shell commands. You can write all shell commands that I've showed, like map commands, SQL, in a file and feed it to CLC. Like I showed this project, this SQL script that I fed to CLC. Yeah, you can do that. But in the future, hopefully, we will have better scripting support, more comments.
But we'd love to hear about the user story. So if if the person who sent that comment has a particular application, then please reach out and let us know how you'd like to run it.
Sure. So this is my question, to be honest. This is the question. So I don't know if there is a channel for the CLC on the Slack community or not. Perhaps it's useful to have it. I think this is where people can ask questions specifically about CLC. So I'm not sure if it exists. If not, I think we need just to create it. So we just have like a dedicated channel for CLC and feedback we receive on it.
Good idea.
Definitely, yeah, it would be great.
So last question is, which serialization methods does the CLC support at this stage?
So CLC was written in Go, like James mentioned, and it supports all serialization methods our Go client supports, like the data types, simple data types, JSON, etc. But it doesn't support Java serializable currently. I know there are a lot of projects there which use Java serial, but in the future we will support it. It doesn't support like Python specific. There's a pickle of serialization, for example. It cannot support them. Currently, it supports compact and portable with this beta release, but you have to write a schema file. But with our 5.2 release, which is coming in a few weeks, hopefully, it will be able to. It will support portable and compact without a schema. So I think it will be a great tool for this discovery.
Yeah, so that's great to hear. I think at this stage, I think what would be useful for everyone is to try it out, give it a go. And if you have any feedback, please free to reach out and give us your feedback. There is a Google form for it. I think we will just make sure to post this link on the Slack community channel, just in case you want to offer new feedback. Before we finish this session, so just a quick reminder that we will have our unconference event, which is hybrid event. So if you are in London, feel free to join us on the 9th of March. And if you are anywhere around the world, you can join virtually. You just need to type in your details here. You get the registration email. And it will be interesting to hear the Hazelcast perspective for real-time stream processing in terms of the free workshop as well as the roundtable discussion. So this is a great opportunity if you're interested in these topics. So feel free to join. The URL is exactly on the screen. I will send it out as well after we finish this session. With that being said, I would like to thank James for joining today and Yüce for the demo as well. It's great to have you on the Twitch. Hopefully we will have you back again with the 5.3. I think it will be useful, and between now and then, if we can collect some feedback and share the user experience, it will be really nice. So thanks very much.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thank you very much. And I want to remind everyone that join our community Slack channel, and I mean, let's chat.
Yeah, yes, that's good. Yeah, thanks guys. All right. Cheers,
Goodbye.
everyone. See you next week.